Golf Central on YouTube is brought to you by the new Elite family of woods and irons from Callaway.
And hello again, and welcome into Golf Central. I'm Rich Lerner, joined later in the show by Tripp Eisenhower. Today, we're going to celebrate the contributions of Jeff Babineau and Tim Rosefort and do a deeper dive into the state of golf journalism, how it's all changed. First, though, some news from the PGA Tour, or what qualifies as news, another way of saying they had a meeting. They have a lot of meetings these days. Florida Swing beginning in Palm Beach Gardens. It is the first of 4 in the Sunshine State. And last night, the PGA Tour's policy board met in South Florida. With more on the latest, we welcome in our man who's been on the beat for a long time, Golf Channel senior writer Rex Hoggard. Rex?
Thank you very much, Rich. As you pointed out, all eyes are on PGA Tour leadership following that meeting last week between the Tour and the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia in the White House. And there was a policy board meeting yesterday afternoon here at PGA National. And Jordan Spieth was in on that meeting as a member of the policy board. And he declined to give any details on last week's meeting at the White House. But he did have some thoughts on some potential changes to the format at the Tour Championship.
I think the idea is just to make the fan experience the best, make NBC, get them very involved in what they think is going to be the best option, and ideally you end up having the most exciting Saturday, Sunday situation that's easy to follow with the most drama you can have that goes all the way down to the last hole. So, we've had a couple different iterations of it. In the first iteration, I think the pushback was whoever it was didn't want 2 different champions. It was confusing on the same green. Then you go to the stroke format, and although easier to follow, I think I think the idea is the tour, the networks, and from polling fans, I think that they believe there's a possibility of a better format, whether that involves any kind of head-to-head matches, it involves less guys on Sunday all playing for it. I mean, I think everything's pretty much on the table, and I'm not sure what they've narrowed it down to since.
I think we've kind of seen the last couple of years that the fan engagement is probably not what it should be. I think there's a little confusion. It's just a weird setup of how start a week 10 under par, 8 under par, 7 under par. It's just kind of it's hard for people to kind of grasp it and get behind it. It's a very difficult thing to kind of understand or try to figure out is how do you reward a season-long champion in a 4-round event without diminishing the whole regular season, but also creating exciting, dramatic finish on Sunday. So how will you do that? I don't know. I've not been a big fan of the way that they've done it, just because I think it creates more confusion, and it feels so unnatural to the game of golf and how the tradition and the history of it's been. So I think something needs to be done. Obviously, the ratings haven't been great the last couple of years, so that's probably part of the reason behind it. But it's definitely not something. It's a very untraditional model for trying to crown a champion.
Now, as we all know, the Tour Championship has been a work in progress for the Tour for quite a while, trying to come up with the right format. And you heard Snedeker there. Clearly, this is not the right format. And one option the Tour is considering for the Tour Championship would be maybe 3 rounds of stroke play to whittle the field down to Sunday, where they would do some sort of round-robin match play type situation to award a champion. But it's clear that this is seriously in flux right now.
Yeah, something needs to be done. Let's turn our attention now to potential resolution between the PGA Tour and the Public Investment Fund, which operates Live Golf. How soon or how likely until we get an announcement?
Well, you look at the schedule right now, Rich, and I've been told that news is going to dictate this. That is, there is some sort of deal between the Tour and the Public Investment Fund. That will be announced, and that's what we thought we might get last Thursday. But timing does come into an issue, and in a perfect world, you certainly wouldn't want to do it next week during the Arnold Palmer Invitational, a signature event, an important event to the Tour. The following week is the Players' Championship, the flagship event for the PGA Tour. You wouldn't want to do it there either, and then you only have 3 weeks between the Players and the Masters, so timing is becoming an issue.
Turn our attention back to the Cognizant Classic as we welcome in Pearson Coody, the grandson of Charles Coody. Pearson's in the field this week on a sponsor's exemption. Pearson, thank you for joining us. And first, I'll start with Grandpa, still going strong at 87. What do you know about what your Grandpa Charlie did?
Yeah, I mean, I know that he had a great career out here. I know he never lost his full status on the PGA Tour for 25 plus years, and yeah, he was just a tremendous ball striker and found a way to get it done for a long, long time.
What are his sort of bedrock principles, Pearson, of proper ball striking?
Oh, gosh. I don't know, because he was really not an overly fundamental person. Whenever I'd hit balls with him on the range growing up, he always wanted me to feel like I was hitting it under a bench and really compress the golf ball into the wind. And those are kind of the few things that he stuck to and always tried to tell me.
How's it going professionally for you so far? You've got 3 starts on the Korn Ferry Tour this season, most recently a runner-up. So just generally speaking, how do you think it's going?
I'm sorry, my earpiece slid out there. I didn't hear the first part.
No problem. Yeah, it happens, trust me. So just broadly, how is your professional career going to this point?
Yeah, I would love to be out here full status this year instead of conditional. But I feel like I'm young. This is only my 3rd full season as a pro, and I have a lot of good golf ahead of me. And I know things can change really fast. And fortunate to have an opportunity here at Cognizant, and we'll play next week as well on the PGA Tour. And whether I'm playing golf on the Korn Ferry or the PGA Tour this year, I'm excited to play, and good golf will get me back to full status, and just trying to keep reminding myself of that.
What's the most challenging aspect to this point of high-level professional golf?
It's just different week to week. This is probably my first year that I get to go to all the courses on tour and be used to seeing the shots, the tee shots, the way putts react, the way chipping around the green changes later in the week and gets firmer. So I'm just excited to have a lot more knowledge under my belt, and that's probably just the biggest thing. There's guys are ready to win, guys are ready to play good golf, but there is an advantage to seeing the golf courses and having experience on these courses.
Do you think the gap has narrowed between the best college players and the best on the Korn Ferry Tour and, say, top 100 on the PGA Tour? Has that gap narrowed, and if so, why?
I would have to say yes. I'm not obviously familiar what that gap would have looked like 20 years ago, but when I left college as a top-ranked player, I won right away on the Korn Ferry, and I don't think that's any different. And I think guys, Michael Thornton, Ludwig, now Luke Clan, if you're a top player in college, your game is good enough to at least get you onto the Korn Ferry, win on the Korn Ferry, and more than likely you're going to end up having your shot on the PGA Tour sooner rather than later. So I would have to assume that the gap keeps getting closer and closer.
Just to give our audience maybe a heads up, is there a player that has blown you away that maybe we haven't even heard about to this point? Somebody you played with on the Korn Ferry Tour that really strikes his golf ball that we should have eyes on? If so, who is that player?
The new young player on the Korn Ferry that I saw for the first time was Christo Lampreg. Hits it really far, 195, 200 ball speed type of guy off the tee. And it's one of those things that I feel like if he gets his game going the right way, it's hard to stop someone that hits it that far.
Nice to be 6'8", and to be able to launch it. Pearson, give my best to your father. I hope we all connect under the tree at Augusta National in April. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, guys.